I have but one question for you.
Why does a tiny, shiny rock cost the same as a used car? And if you don't buy it, it somehow means you don't believe in love. That feels a little aggressive. Like imagining proposing and being like, hey, I love you so much. Here's a financially irresponsible mineral. And everyone's like, wow, romance. But it gets worse because this whole thing, the price, the tradition, the expectation, yeah, that didn't just happen. It was engineered. At some point, humanity collectively agreed, if you really love someone, you must present them with a rock. Not flowers, not loyalty, not emotional availability, a rock. And not just any rock, a very specific, very expensive, socially approved rock. That's oddly specific. Like, who started that? Because historically, people weren't doing this. Engagement rings existed, sure. But diamonds? Not the main character. That changed because of one company, De Beers. And what they did next is kind of insane. Because they didn't just sell diamonds, they sold the idea of love. Back in the 1900s, diamonds were not that rare and not that popular, which is a problem if your entire business is diamonds. So De Beers said, okay, what if we just change society? And I need you to understand, they didn't run ads like, hey, buy diamonds, they're shiny. No, they went full psychological warfare. They embedded diamonds into movies, celebrity culture, royalty, magazines. And then they dropped one of the most effective slogans ever created.
A diamond is forever, De Beers.
Which sounds romantic until you realize what it actually means is, you can't resell this. That's not poetry. That's a trap. Buy now, symbol of eternal love, zero resale value included for emotional authenticity. And then they did something even crazier. They told people how much to spend. Not joking. The rule became you should spend 2 months of your salary on a ring. 2 months. That's rent. That's groceries. That's your car looking at you like, so we're just not fixing me. And the wild part, people didn't question it. We just accepted it like, yeah, that sounds right. Love equals financial stress. But here's where it starts to get a little uncomfortable. Because the value of diamonds, yeah, that part's not what you think either. So diamonds are marketed as rare, exclusive, scarce, special. But in reality, they're not nearly as rare as you've been led to believe. There are a lot of diamonds, like enough that if they all flooded the market, prices would drop fast. So what happens? Supply gets controlled, carefully released, just enough to keep prices high. It's basically limited supply, but on purpose. Act fast before we release, slightly more later. Now at this point, you might be thinking, okay, so it's marketing. Everything is marketing. And yeah, fair. But this one's different because it didn't just sell a product, it rewired what love is supposed to look like. It created a moment where if this ring isn't big enough, it's not special enough. If there's no diamond, it's not real enough. That's a lot of pressure for a rock. But also, let's be honest. If someone you love gives you a ring, you're probably not sitting there like, actually, this is a result of early 20th century monopolistic marketing strategies. You're like, oh my God, because meaning is kind of flexible like that. We assign it, even if it was heavily suggested. So are diamonds a scam? Not exactly. Are they overpriced because of brilliant marketing? Yeah. Does that make your ring meaningless? No. It just means the story behind it might not be what you thought. And honestly, that might be the weirdest part. Not that diamonds are expensive, but that we all agreed, without really realizing it, that this is what love is supposed to look like. Anyway, if you need me, I'll be starting a new tradition, 2 months salary. But for snacks. That feels more honest.